Celebrity South Africa, the podcast, with me, former Queen of the Jungle, Scarlett Moffat, and the wonderful...
5th place, Seann Walsh.
Oh, that sounds pathetic when you say it like that. No, say top 5. Top 5 sounds better.
That's quite good. Almost made the cyclone, Seann Walsh.
Yay! Oh, I feel gutted that you didn't get to do the cyclone, you know. I think you'd have, I don't mean to rub it in, but I think you would have really enjoyed it.
I think I would have won.
I think you would have as well. I still keep thinking, you know how on today's episode they had to all vote for who they wanted to do the trial and who was possibly going?
Oh, my Lord.
This is where it's a clear difference between the bush and Australia, because when you do the Australian one and it's a public vote, no one cares if you're not pulling your weight and you're not doing the long drop or you're not doing camp maintenance. But in the bush,
I know,
this is when it shows.
So much has happened. I enjoyed watching it, but I would not have enjoyed being part of the challenge where they had to, or the trial where they had to nominate the person who wasn't going to do it.
It's awful. And I just think, like, you know, you didn't really have to have alliances when you were in Australia. But in the bush, like, you've got to be a bit tactical and, like, try and almost be a bit cliquey. Because that's when you know that someone's always going to save you.
Yes.
If you're in a little clique, almost.
I have to say, I was very surprised. If you had said to me, who will be in the bottom 2 that will have to go and do the trial, there's no way I would have said Joe or Phil. That was a shock to me. This is what I thought. I thought Phil has been called the kind of clown, the comedian of the camp, and then Joe is about the banter. He has a laugh in there. So to see them at the bottom was strange, but it all came down to Paul Burrell making a choice. You had that final 3 there.
Yeah.
You had Dean, Phil, and Joe, and I wasn't surprised then. When Paul picked Phil, that was not a surprise to me.
Really? See, I felt like I honestly thought, I knew he wasn't going to pick Joe because he'd already called Joe the baker and explained how he really wanted Fatima to be the leader and he didn't think that Joe was a good leader. So I knew that he wasn't going to pick Joe. But I thought he would pick his mate Phil because, you know, they've slept in a bed next to each other for 2 weeks. They've done jobs together in there. They always seem to be having a laugh. And Paul was one of the ones really who's, I think, suffered the most from not getting the picnics and has been a little bit jelly and jealous about the other camp getting all of the food.
Well, no, but he picked Phil because I think he's been saying for a long time now that Phil, has got far doing nothing and has been riding off everyone else's back, and I just think that that's caused a bit of tension, and I wasn't surprised. And I think they're kind of cut from different cloth as well. I think that Phil likes a laugh, and I think you let someone like Phil get away with not doing much because he's such a nice guy, and it's been a long time since he was in there the first time. So it's been, almost like 2 decades.
Yeah, 20 years since he's been in there.
2 decades. Wow. So there you go. And I think I would let him get away with more, and I think the Campmates have, but Paul wasn't falling for that.
Nah.
He didn't like that, and so he put Phil and Joe in that bottom 2 where they of course had to go and do the trial. It's not that there's someone in particular in there that I want to see go. I don't, because I think it's a good group, but I think that Joe and Phil would not, absolutely, I can say this, they would not have been in my bottom 2.
No, not at all.
They're
good for morale. Anyone who is good for morale tends to do well normally in the Australian version, but obviously in the Legends version, it's like everything's been flipped on its head. But as soon as I seen that trial and the coffin and like the 55 snakes, I just knew.
Oh my God!
And I think Swashy, like Joe, was so ready to see his family. I think it was really evident that, like, he was getting upset. He was really missing Stacey, really missing the kids. And I think his fight had just gone.
It's been a lot harder than I thought it was being. You know what? I've got so much more at home to think about. So it plays on your mind.
Yeah.
had my kids, my wife. Yeah, I can't wait to see them.
You struggle with that?
It's been really hard.
Yeah.
I just think I had too much at home on my mind to just be able to concentrate and focus on what I was doing. But at the same time, I didn't want to lose the experience of, I'm not going to do this again. And I was desperate to come back and say thank you. Because all this stuff I'm missing at home, I wouldn't have if it weren't for you guys.
Oh, it's very nice.
It weren't for this show. So
very kind of you.
It's a lose-lose, win-win for me, you know.
I know Swashy, and I know he could have done better in that trial, but I think he wasn't able to get his head in the game and get all the codes and numbers right, because I think he was just thinking, oh, but I get to go home. I think he just had home in his head.
I think he said that he had come into the jungle to kind of give back. It's given him a lot in his life, which is absolutely amazing. His family, his wife, a career, which is just amazing and completely well-deserved. But I think that this time round, I think he just found it a lot. I mean, he cried a lot. There was a lot of crying in there. I wasn't expecting that from him. You could have showered under him.
I don't think Swashy was expecting to cry that much. Like his happy place is the jungle. Like he did extra camp for 10 years. Like he loves it. And I think maybe it was like a nice way of closing a chapter on that part of his life.
Yes.
I think like he's now leaving like a legend and being like, thank you for all your years, and then goodbye. I don't mean to rub it in because I know you didn't win. But, like, when you win, there is
Top five. Thank you.
There is one thing that you never get to experience, and that is Ant and Dec saying, you're a celebrity, get yourself out of here. And so I feel like at least you got to experience that, you know. He's experienced all that he has to offer now.
There you go. And I can tell you, it's quite the feeling. It's very nice being told that by Ant and Dec. Now, look, let's talk about this, because when Phil then came back, because he won the challenge, he came back and obviously people were happy to see him. They were sad to see Joe go, but Paul Burrell, he suspected that maybe Phil blanked him. I'm going to have to say he absolutely blanked him. It was like he was invisible.
It was a little bit spicy.
Just pack my little bag up.
I don't know. I think it's a very close call, actually, between Joe and Phil.
Battle
I
Royal.
think he wouldn't mind staying, but I think Joe kind of wants to go and FaceTime his kids.
Yeah. Thanks for the sentiment, Hel.
But...
Thanks for the sentiment.
No,
but
I'm
it's all
just...
right. It's all right, mate.
No,
it's all right. No, there's no need, mate. No need.
I'm just saying, I think you both have got an equal...
Honestly, there's no need. There's no need, mate.
Phil,
but
don't.
Thanks. No.
I think you've all got an equal chance.
No, I thought we was getting on really well.
No,
you know?
Phil,
I thought we was getting... No.
Oh, Phil.
Nah, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's all
Phil,
logged.
I'm just saying, I think it's a fair battle.
No, it's all logged. It's all logged.
It's all logged.
Honestly, let it be a lesson to you all. Don't ever give yourself to people, because all you do is get hurt.
Oh, stop. That's so funny.
Nah. Well, it might be for you.
Phil, stop.
Oh, tough.
For me, it's been like a dagger through my heart. Don't really know what to say anymore. Make me a little way off now. Okay.
Phil, stop.
I'll see you later.
I felt for Paul, but equally,
Yeah.
I understood why Phil did it, because I just think, again, he's missing his wife, Dawnie, he's tired, he's hungry, he's just done a trial, and I think just your emotions are heightened and you're just like, sod this for a game of soldiers. I'm annoyed and I want people to know I'm annoyed.
But not only was he annoyed, I think he was also... He was hurt. And I think that, I'm going to say this, I think that he kind of tried to pass it off that, as if he was joking. He wasn't joking. I think he was genuinely upset that he ended up in that bottom two, and he wasn't happy that Burrell picked him, and that's where the bit of, what's the word? I don't know young people words. Spiciness. We'll just stick with spiciness.
Do you know what though as well? I do think
If it was a
in
text,
Paul's-
he would have put
Yeah.
he would have put that nail polish emoji.
Oh yeah, he would have.
You know, just the nail polish
It was
emoji.
a bit sassy.
Yeah.
It was a bit sassy. I think as well though.
Sassy!
Sassy's
Sass!
the
That's the word
word.
I was looking for. Sass!
Sassy.
Sass! In came the sass. The Tufnell saff.
I think
sass.
as well.
The tough snaffs. Go. I've lost it. I've gone again.
I think as well, it wasn't just Paul he was upset with, but I think Paul got the brunt of it. But let's face it, none of his campmates saved him, and that's hard. That is a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
Knowing that not one of your
Yes.
campmates went, I really want my mate Phil to stay.
I know.
I'd have
And then he had
cried.
to go, and then straight away, straight into a trial again. Off you go. You're back. Yeah, don't bother getting changed. Off you go again. Oof.
Who do you think's gonna go? Because there's no skill to that box game at all. There is no skill. I think it's pure luck. I'll be honest.
Scarlett, I've got no idea. I have to say, like you say, it's completely random. I've got no idea. My top three are wrong. From when we started, I thought it was going to be Sean Ryder was in there. And I think I said Helen and Phil. So I've just got to stick with Helen and Phil for now. And maybe Jordan will make that top three this time. What about you? What do you think?
Well, see,
and then I'm going to speak to Janice.
My top three was Jordan, Carol, and Sean Ryder. So I've still got two bad boys in there. Still got Carol and Jordan.
Okay.
So hopefully
I'll allow you to replace Sean. Who do you reckon? I'd go with Fatima now, maybe, actually.
Yeah, she's a legend.
I know she's rubbish at trials.
She
rubbish at
actually
trials.
is. Do you know what? Fatima's...
She's an Olympian that is rubbish at...
God bless her. Can I
would have
just
thought
say
it?
though, Sean, I feel so jealous of
Go
you
on.
today because you get to interview the original, the OG supermodel and bitch, Janice Dickinson.
The OG, the OG superstar, the OG bitch is Janice Dickinson. I know, I'm so sorry. I'll send her your love, shall I?
Oh yeah, please, thank you. Well, don't let me stop you from having a good time.
Yeah, right, I'm off. Lots of love. Lovely catching up.
Bye.
So with us, we have the original supermodel, the original bitch. It's Janice Dickinson. Thank you for joining me, Janice.
You're welcome. Why you gotta call me a bitch?
That's what you called yourself when you were in there.
Oh, okay.
You remember that? Yeah, don't worry. I wouldn't do that without...
I was singing it in a song.
I know you were. I can't remember how it went. How did it go?
I'm the original supermodel and bitch.
We love it. There we go. You need to record that. Get that out there. That will break
I have.
the charts. Now, thank you for joining me. You were originally in the jungle in 2007, all of 15 years ago, when Christopher Biggins won. 15 years on, what was the difference between the two experiences?
Well, the two experiences are the people in South Africa are much nicer to me than the people that were from Australia. I think that the people from Australia just really were in it to win it, and I got every trial. The audience voted for me to go out and do the trials 10 times in a row. You know, they were there to do trials too, but they kept picking little old me.
Well, it did you good, and you came second that time.
Yes.
So you did fabulously.
Thank you.
And so you just basically, you thought that this time, because people had been through it already before, that actually everyone was a bit more chilled, it was maybe less competitive, and you got on better.
Yeah, I think so. You're absolutely right.
Okay.
It's not even getting on better. It's this time I was prepared not to die. Like the first go around, I thought I was going to die every minute because the trials were torturous.
Yes.
It was torture.
Well, I'm glad that you had a better time this time then.
I did. Much better.
We watched you do the trials, and it was a different Janice. It was new and improved. Basically, you shocked Anton Deck at the first eating trial because you ate antelope stomach, fish eyes, and lamb's testicles. But you refused little bunnies. What was the thinking in what you would eat and what you wouldn't eat? What deciphered those two things?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Like the thought of eating a bunny just kills me.
No, sad. The poor little bunnies.
So sweet. I'm an animal lover, and I just couldn't do it.
Well, good for you. Good for you. And we loved you for that. Now, you struck friendships in there. One that stood out particularly to us was you and Fatima. And because you're you're from very different backgrounds for us, watching an Olympian and a supermodel kind of click, we weren't expecting that. And do you love Fatima?
I love Fatima.
Yes.
In fact, I love everybody in the camp.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I really got on with everybody. I really liked everyone so much.
That's fantastic. And that came across this time. Do you have any particular memories in the bush that stood out to you?
Well, there was a very nice time when I was feeling kind of wobbly. And,
okay.
And
was that being tired? Was that like being tired, not eating?
Yeah, it was because I was up all night with indigestion after the first trial of eating all that gobbledygook they gave us to eat. We went on a walk, and Joe just grabbed my hand. He's just such a sweetheart.
Yes, he was absolutely lovely. Do you think it was harder or easier this time round?
I think they're both the same amount. Degrees of difficulty, I think they're about the same. You know, this show is so entertaining. We love it. I was entertained the whole time I was in the jungle by just the people and their stories and things they had to say about life. You know, there was never a dull moment.
Well, that's the thing about I'm a Celeb. And I was in last year's one in Australia in the jungle. And what's so wonderful is you get to meet all these different walks of life that aren't necessarily the kind of people that you would meet back in your normal life.
Right.
I find. And you kind of find out everyone's different journey and the journey they've been on. It's so interesting.
It really is. And I really like Toph.
Oh, we love Toph. Yes.
Toph and Topner, the other guy, Topner, and I like.
We love Topner. Phil Topner.
Phil Topner.
Yes, we love Phil.
Is that his name? And I liked Aaron.
It's close enough.
Was his name Alvin the boxer?
Amir.
Amir.
Alvin the boxer. It's close. It's not too far.
I really liked Amir so much, and I liked Jordan so much, and
yes.
Carol. Wonderful babe.
Do you think you'll see people outside after this, that you'll all have a nice little reunion?
Oh, sure.
Oh, good. That's lovely to hear.
Mylene was so nice to me, and Helen was so nice to me. And Fatima, yeah, I'll definitely see her. She's wonderful. Yes. I truly, truly liked everybody.
Good, yeah, and that came across. That absolutely came across. I mean, there were moments when, it got tense. I think the weather made it slightly difficult. Was that difficult to live in?
What, the rainstorm?
Yeah.
That rainstorm was really gnarly. It was
gnarly.
It was so wet and so drenched, and the tarp that was over the campsite completely filled up with water. And the guys thought, we'll just poke it with broomsticks. Well, that made it even worse. Then the water just fell right into the camp.
Now, obviously, we can't shy away from it. You left prematurely. We were so sad to see you go. Viewing the show, was that sad for you?
It broke my heart. Honestly.
Are you okay now?
I'm okay now.
Good.
Yeah.
You've healed.
No cry over spilt milk.
There's no cry. Don't worry. No tears. I'm holding the tears in. Now, thank you so much for joining me. Before we let you go, Janice, I just wanted to bring up one thing. Of course, Ant and Dec, over here on our little island, they are national treasures, legends of television. Where would we be without them? Most people don't have a favourite. We love them equally. But you seem to have your eye on Declan.
I know.
What is it about Declan that you love?
It's terrible. It's terrible. I have this...
It's getting hot even talking about it.
I'm getting hot sweating. Thinking about it.
I know.
Yeah, he's just such a cutie. If I was 20 years younger, I would just run after him.
I think you could still catch him now.
You think?
I think. I'll help you. I'll catch him. Yes. Janice Dickinson.
You're not so bad yourself.
Thank you, but slow down. No, we can't. Open the windows. Miss Dickinson, thank you so much for joining me. The original supermodel, the original bitch. There she is. That's you.
Holler back, bitch.